Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thank you so much for being with us on our program today. Remember, we'll start things off with some contact information to let you know how to get in touch with us. If you have an idea for our show, we would love to hear from you. And the best way to get in touch with me is to send me email, cbrady@tv24.tv. That is the best way to give us the ideas that you have for East Alabama Today. Now, maybe you have something going on in your community, fairs, festivals, special events, things that are happening with your church organization, your community organization, or your school, and you'd like help spreading the word about what's going on. We'll be glad to help out here at East Alabama Today. So get in touch with me there at the email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. And as always, we're looking for interesting people who live in the community as well. Maybe they're writers or artists or musicians. Maybe they have an odd or an interesting hobby, and you think they would be a great guest for the program. That's exactly the kind of folks that we are talking about. So send me their information as well at that email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now, also, if you happen to have missed a recent episode and you'd like to go back and see something that you missed, if you want to review some information that you happen to see, or maybe you didn't see a whole show and you want to check it out, you can do that in the convenience of wherever you are with your computer. You can do that at tv24.tv. Go to the On Demand tab, look for East Alabama Today. Click on that, and there will be a whole series of East Alabama Today shows that you can watch on your computer. We'll be back in just a moment, so hang out with us here on East Alabama Today. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady, and we're going to continue our series today of talking to East Alabama nonprofit organizations that have completed the Standards for Excellence program that was offered by the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama. This program helps ensure that you are dealing with a reputable agency. You know that your money is being well taken care of when you make donations, and just a lot of different things that go into having that certification from Standards for Excellence. And we're going to talk about that as we go through the show today. But today I'm proud to have with me the Cheaha Creative Arts organization. We have Rose Munford here. Rose, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So glad to have you on with us. I like talking creative stuff because what we do here on TV, what I've done from TV and radio over the years, and as a musician, so much of my life involves creativity, and I love encouraging creativity in other people. Use your imagination, see what comes out whenever you just open your mind and start drawing or start playing music.
Right. And it's that creativity, freedom of mind, and that's one of the things I've learned with children. When I came about during the 50s and 60s, I went to All Saints Catholic School. We had all the fine arts, and you're talking about back in the era and time where education was difficult and things weren't readily available. Mm-hmm. But we were the sisters, daughters of the Holy Spirit and fathers of St. Edmund, made it possible for us. And I knew what it did for me, for my character building. And I always wanted to do something in gratitude for what was given to me, mm-hmm. to give it back to our young people today. Arts are the dying arts that we don't have in schools.
Right, and it has become, because of the financial realities of school here in the 21st century, the first thing usually that gets cut from a school program, and I know a lot of strides are being made to change that, but the first thing that gets cut is usually arts in some way.
Yes.
The art department, or especially a fine arts music type department, they're going to keep the band, right. But they may not have a symphonic band, and they may not have an opportunity for kids to learn how to play the violin and things like that. And it is becoming more and more incumbent on community organizations like yours to provide that fine arts education to the children in the community.
Yes, indeed. And the thing about the arts and the creative arts, it allows children to think. It's a thinking process, it's a visionary process, and it's a creative process. And I think because of all the modern technology, Twitter and laptops and iPads, we're becoming robotic. It's like a robotic system versus you thinking how to figure out, you thinking how to create. And that's what I wanted to do with our program. I knew what it did for me, and we have so much talent that is being lost simply because children have not been introduced to it.
Exactly.
And one of the things I wanted to do with our program to make it that cost would not be a reason that children, even adults, you know, as sometimes in our lives we don't get the opportunity. It might have been things happened or whatever that it wasn't available for us during our younger years. But even as adults now, we still have a childlike enthusiasm, and it's an opportunity for you to go back and get the opportunity to take part in those things that you missed out when you were younger.
Absolutely.
And
it really is, you really are never too old to learn something new.
No.
And if you're, you know, even after you retire, you're sitting around, you're bored, you've always wanted to learn how to play the piano, there's nothing stopping you from learning how to play the piano.
No, indeed not. And it's also when it's something that you truly enjoy and have a passion for it. It's like therapy. When you get an opportunity to divulge in those things that give you a peace, or give you a type of happiness and a type of joy. It is therapy, and in today's world, we need all the calming and in therapy type situations we need to not dampen our minds and our goals.
You know, let's talk a little bit about the education factor as well. I saw some of this information on your website, but I've seen these studies before that show children who are involved in fine arts and music classes and creative arts classes do better in their regular studies as well. And I think some of that, like you mentioned, is the problem solving. You know, it's not just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It is you have to be creative to figure out how to solve some of those problems. Math students usually make good musicians, and good musicians usually make great math students because music is very mathematical.
Yes.
Average people, you may not, if you're a musician, you know what we're talking about, and it relates back to being able to figure out math problems. So the fine arts part of education is extremely important wherever you get it.
Yes, indeed, and I can prove it. We had, when we first started our program, we started out with violin and visual art. And I had a hard time trying to find students who would be interested in the violin. We only got our students through word of mouth. We started out at the high school area, hoping that to be a catalyst to bring the children in, but it just wasn't happening. And I said, oh, wow, we got this program going. What am I going to do? How am I going to get it started? So we had 5 violins that were donated through Howard Corps. We were so grateful for Howard Corps in donating those 5 violins.
Yes.
And so our first students were 2 5-year-olds, 2 8-year-olds, and I think we had like a 10-year-old. And they are now, the 5-year-olds are now going into 10 years old, and the rest of them are going up in age. And I have seen the maturity and the growth. When they started out, it was difficult. Violin is a very difficult instrument to learn. It takes discipline.
It does. And I have yet to figure out why they didn't put frets on the thing. It would be so much easier if it had frets on it.
But it takes discipline. And it takes a determination and a intuitiveness that if you truly want to learn, you will stick to it. And what we've learned, our kids now, as they've gotten older, they are proud in what they do. It was difficult. In fact, I always tell the story of Landon. Landon was 8 when he started. He was having trouble. He was a homeschool child, an only child. He was having trouble getting started. And so when we started, like in September of 2010, Our violin teacher had seasoned teachers. We're so grateful to have who we have as our instructor, Ms. Diane Chung. She also teaches up at the Etowah Youth Orchestra. So she, because of the difficulty that the children was having, she said she usually puts on an annual recital. And so she had a 4-year-old who played like a maestro, a 7-year-old played like somebody you see on Carnegie Hall. So she felt that if our kids could see, come to the recital and see what they can advance to. Well, Landon, who was having the most difficulty, trouble with it, saw the little 4-year-old. When he got up and played like a maestro, he threw up his hands and told his mom, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't do this. And his uncle sat him down and told him, Landon, if you give up on this, you will be giving up on every difficult task you face in life.
Right.
So the teacher felt, because you have to learn the scales and the keys are the same in piano, she recommended that Landon take piano as well as the violin. Well, today, whenever anyone calls for us, Landon is ready on the spot.
Yeah.
And he is my premier student that I can call up anytime and say, Landon, can you come and perform? And he comes and performs, and I tell him all the time, I say, remember, you're representing this program. Outstanding. And when I tell his story, I say, this is a classic example of when a child is put in an environment and get the support and the encouragement.
Right.
And intuitiveness to it, what he can advance to. And music is now, Landon plays pristine.
Yeah.
And this year, coming in May, he's going to try out for the Etowah Youth Orchestra.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's a great program to be a part of.
And those are the things I can show with other students, as well as in our ballet, in our piano, how being in an environment where you have people surrounding you who can stimulate, motivate, and encourage. And those are the things, I think, if we had that in school, how well would the children be excelling?
Absolutely. Well, we need to take a commercial break, so we'll do that right now and come back and talk more about Cheaha Creative Arts when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome you back into East Alabama today. We're talking with Rose Munford about the Cheaha Creative Arts Organization, nonprofit organization in Calhoun County that teaches and provides fine arts education for children and adults in the county. One of the Standards for Excellence programs, recently certified by the Standards program. And we're going to talk about that, but there's so much to talk about just with the creative arts part of the program. And one of the stumbling blocks in many cases to fine arts programs is the cost associated with private lessons, the cost associated with getting a good instrument. You know, it's difficult to learn to play a cheap, poorly made instrument.
Right.
I guarantee you give a cheap guitar to a guitar student, and he's not going to learn how to play the guitar because it's going to hurt his fingers, it's going to be hard to do. But you let that guitar student play on a well-made instrument, and that kid's going to learn how to play the guitar and be wonderful at it. So that's always one of the interesting things as well. But you guys strive to make these fine arts education opportunities as affordable as possible.
Yes, indeed. And I made it affordable because we're always finding ways to give excuses why we don't want to do something or don't want to attempt. And I made it as affordable cheaply so I can get that excuse. Because if somebody come with, well, I can't afford it, come again. You pay $20. Our violin is $25 a month. Our piano is $20 a month. Our sewing is $10 a month. Our ballet is $20 a month. Come again. You can't afford that when you'll spend that much on a hamburger meal.
Yeah.
And then we do offer 2 free programs. We wanted to make sure that, you know, if you're paying for something, we can also give back. So our visual art class is free. Our yoga class is free. And in the last 2 years, to help support the school system, we provided and paid for the art teacher to go into. Now we started out with 2 elementaries. Now we've advanced to 4 elementary schools and the middle school for the Anniston City school system. We pay for an art teacher to go 2 days a month, providing visual art. And I also pay for a dance instructor who teaches modern contemporary hip hop dance that comes out of Atlanta 1 day a month. And I try to think of those arts where you can reach the greater number. Violin is a one-on-one. Piano is a one-on-one. And unless a child has a infrastructure at home that can encourage and practice and protect the instrument, as well as have a piano for them to practice on. You're being futile trying to offer that in a school system when there's not a backup plan at home to go along with it. But dance, visual art, those are things we can do with reach greater numbers of students.
In a classroom setting.
In classroom setting. And like in our dance, she works with about 40 kids at one time when she does the dance. When she does the visual art, she does 15 because it's a one-on-one teacher. If we had, and also she has assistants, but it's better with just 15 at the max. And each time she goes, sometimes she doesn't get the same 15. It may be another 15. So we may be reaching at least 30 kids in a elementary school who's taking the visual art. And I tell them all the time in the school system, don't just throw kids in there as a way of just let it be kids who truly
want to be there,
want to learn. Because we're hoping in the long run, this will be a catalyst for as they continue on and advance on in this, they may challenge for scholarships to go on to college. In dance or in visual art or in violin, in piano, in all the things that we provide and offer, and in sewing. And it also gives a skill set. I always like, as I was speaking to you earlier, about a backup plan. You know, arts is a therapy type of thing as far as I'm concerned. Of course, it can be a primary job for some people, but sometimes in visual art, like artists, it can be difficult. Everybody's not out there in a mass trying to buy your artwork. And that's why we call us starving artists. But it is a backup plan that you can have that gives you comfort, therapy, and peace. But as far as what we're offering is giving children the opportunity to think about, is this something that I would like to go forward on, or is this something that I like to have as a pastime for later on? Help
them discover maybe that hidden talent. If they never have the opportunity to try it, they may never know they have a talent for it.
And it could be a world, and not only for children. Our program is open for adults. We have adults taking violin. We have adults taking piano. We have adults doing everything that we're offering in our program. And it gives those adults that opportunity who might not have had the opportunity when they were younger to take advantage of it. But now it's available in your community where you can take advantage of it. So I'm real proud of the program.
Absolutely.
And
well, let's shift gears just a little bit. You were talking in the first segment about the student who wanted to stop because it was hard. Something that your organization recently went through over the course of several months was hard. You may have wanted to stop a time or two, and that was the Standards for Excellence certification program through the Community Foundation of Northeast Alabama. You were one of the organizations who went through that program. Just give me an overview of what that program and reaching that certification level has done for you.
Well, to start off, Cheaha was an organization that was formed with volunteers, local artists and community people who wanted to see arts. Well, when we started out, we had loads of people. And then as we dwindled down, it ended up almost being me and 2 other people and having a board. We were having difficulty getting people to come on board to be boards. And your board is your infrastructure of any organization, and that is a criteria that the standards look at. So we knew we were having a challenge kind of going through on the application process. It was myself and one of my board members who went through the training and started in the application process. It took us a year and a half, and when we submitted our application, the first phase, all of us got loads of paperwork and things must do to push a little further from the first review. And in their response to us, they said, oh, you got a lot of things left undone. And I don't think you're going to make it this first year go around. And you may want to consider with us working along with you. Well, I've always been a person about attention to detail. And I know I said, oh, we didn't have the money. And we were grateful for the Community Foundation and United Way for paying for the application process during this training. And I said, if they're saying that we're not going to make it, and I said, we don't have the budget in our budget for this. And I said, I've been up nights and days with this. I said, no way.
Yeah.
So I went on a major campaign recruiting people to get our board, to get our data up to par. I said, no way am I going to miss out on this. And so we worked hard. It was many nights I didn't go to sleep. I would wake, next thing I know, it'd be 5 o'clock in the morning. But we met the deadline, and
awesome.
Today we were the first organization to get cleared.
I can see you accepting that challenge and,
Yes.
and pulling that together. What kind of a difference has it made as far as public opinion and things like that about your organization?
Well, you know, we've been, as far as our funding and support, it's like a newbie. I always looked at our organization as being one that has a question mark on the minds of people when they talk about Cheaha Creative Arts. Are they credible? Are they worth investing their money in? Do they have what it takes to be a long-term holding organization? And I feel that the standards succeeding in that, and is succeeding with knowing what they told us at the start.
Yeah.
And we were able to accomplish it and end up being with the group in the end. I think it gave us the credibility and the clout that people now can say, well, they're okay. They seem to be knowing what they're doing an outstanding job, and I think with this certification, it would make them feel comfortable donating to our program and being a part of it. Yep. And it really has sealed the deal for us, and it was a most important thing for us to have. I think having that silenced a lot of questioning, a lot of doubt in our program.
Wonderful. We need to do another commercial break. We'll take that right now and be back in just a moment with the final wrap up, so stay with us. Welcome back in for our final segment, talking today with Cheaha Creative Arts and Rose Munford, and volunteers who would like to teach are always welcome. Volunteers who want to be a part of the program, people who would like to donate to the program, and of course students, both adults and children. How do people get in touch with you to find out more about what they can do? Well,
I always encourage everyone to go to our website, cheahacreativearts.org. My contact number is 256-473-7707. And I want to emphasize, we are an all volunteer. I volunteer my time. The only people who are paid are our professional instructors. And our Cheaha, when it was formed, was to help our local artists, arts organizations, and I feel that we have such wealth of talent out there. When those people who have gone to school and made it their career, and we seek the best of the best. I am so proud of who we have on board. They're the only ones who get paid out of our organization, our profession. The rest of us, like myself, volunteer so that all money comes into our organization, goes directly to the organization. It is going to the instructors, it going to the supplies and equipment, and since the school system was so grateful, the Anniston City Board of Education allowed us to use the Kilby House space for our program. We don't have overhead. And that is a big savings for our program.
Absolutely. So you guys are located in the historic Kilby House right next to Anniston High School on Woodstock Avenue, and so that's the best place for folks to find you. You can search for them on Facebook as well. If you're a Facebooker, you can find all kinds of information about them on Facebook. Rose, it has indeed been a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much,
Look
Mr.
forward
Ray.
to having you back sometime.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate
Thank you. And folks, I want to thank you for joining us here on East Alabama Today as well. Hope you have a great day, and we'll be back with you next time.